All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. My name is Carol Altom, and I'm with the Operations Management Graduate Program at the University of Arkansas, located in Fayetteville in the northwest corner of the state. Thank you to Dr. Stanley Woodson, the director of the ERDC Graduate Institute, for allowing us to offer a virtual information center at the ERDC group. Today, we have several people from the department who will be giving us information about the two online graduate degrees we offer. We'll hear from Marge Pasch on the Master of Science in Operations Management program and from Jane Cromhout on the Master of Science in Engineering Management program. We'll also hear about a couple of graduate certificate programs that are offered through the department that can be taken in conjunction with the degree program or separately. At the end of the presentation, you will be able to type in your questions in the chat box, and we'll all be here to answer them. And so first off, I'd like to introduce the director of our program, Dr. Greg Parnell. He taught at West Point for 14 years and has been working on several ERDC research projects since he joined our department in 2013. He will tell us how our graduate programs relate to the work of ERDC engineers, engineering managers, and operations managers. So now I'll pass it on to you, Dr. Parnell.
Okay, great. Can you hear me, Carol?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Stan, for this opportunity to talk about our programs. I have had the opportunity to work for several years for ERDC as a contractor, and so I understand very clearly the work that they do and have enjoyed our efforts working with them. We've been working with the Information Technology Lab, the System Engineering Institute there, and then also been supporting the Strategic Integration Office over in the director's office. So those are the two areas that we've been working, and we've worked on a variety of projects. So as such, and with my experience at West Point and then prior to that, the Air Force, we certainly understand the military here as well as the military and the civil service that work for DoD. We have over 35% of our students are active duty, and then we have a significant number that work as civilians. The relevance of the two programs, we think, for people at ERDC is the following. If you have an engineering degree and you're being put in a project management or leading people and organizations, or even just a project leader or project manager, our certificate in project management and the MS Engineering Management degree would be ideal for you to help prepare you for the next level and also prepare you for larger supervisory opportunities at the branch chief level and division level and even lab director level. So those are things that you might want to consider. If you don't have a ABET accredited engineering degree, then our Master of Science in Operations Management, which is also a STEM degree, may be very useful for you. So if you're involved in a functional area that isn't directly related to engineering and didn't have the opportunity to get an ABET engineering degree, then the ops management would be a great option for you. And so we want to describe these programs, and we've got a great team here. Marge is the advisor that is assigned to ERDC students, and she can help out, and then Jane for the OM, and then Jane for the EM, and they'll tell you more about them. So with that, turn it over to the next speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Marge Pasch, and as Dr. Parnell just mentioned, I am the advisor and point of contact for all the ERDC students for the Master of Science in Operations Management. And so what is operations management? So the foundations of operations management are planning, the processes, the efficiency, cost control, quality control, continuous improvement, utilizing technology. And then with all of that, the whole point of it would be to lead to a strong bottom line. So as you can see, all the different parts go together. And moving on. So, what can you do with an operations management degree? Obviously, you can be an operations manager, production manager, human resource manager. It goes on and on and on. There are so many different opportunities for someone with an OM degree. Really, it would be probably one of the best ones to get ever. So let's talk a little bit about the master's program. First of all, we've been around for about 46 years. That's a long, long time. Started with the military and moved on to the main campus as well. We have over 32 courses. We have approximately 70 instructors, 3,100 enrollments each year, approximately 800 unique students. 92 to 95% of our students study completely online. And it is the largest graduate program out of the University of Arkansas. So we're very, very proud of that. Program requirements. So for the Master of Science in Operations Management, there are 10 courses. There are 4 required and 6 electives. And we have tons of elective classes to choose from. So when you're looking at the electives, if you want to do something in supply chain, we got that. Quality management, we got that. Leadership principles, HR classes, data analytics. I think Dr. Parnell might actually teach that one. Lean Six Sigma, and we even have a drones class. So with 27 to choose from, and you only need to pick 6, we've got you covered. There are 4 undergraduate prereq courses. If you met 3 of them as an undergrad with a C or better, you're not going to need to take those. And then the 4th one we'll talk about in just a minute. You need to have a GPA of at least a 3.0. We will not need the GRE or the GMAT if you have at least a 3.0. At the end, there's the comprehensive exam. This is a video. It is not as scary as some people want to make it. We're not there to fail you. We're there to help you. And then you have to apply for graduation because we hold your degree, your diploma hostage until you do such a thing. Undergrad prereqs, law and ethics, accounting, statistics. If you've had those as undergrads, you will not need to take them again as long as you got a C or better. And then the last one is Introduction to Decision Support Tools and Operations Management. I like to call it our Excel on steroids class, and we do allow you to take a proficiency exam for that, and if you pass that, you don't need to take the class. I will say, however, that I have had people pass the proficiency exam and take the class because it is an awesome class and you learn tons and tons of stuff. So you do not need to take your prereqs before you start the program, but they do need to be completed before you can take the classes that are required for that. Talking about the 4 required courses. The first one is Introduction to Operations Management. We like you to take that as your first or second class. That'll introduce a lot of concepts and a lot of different topics within the operations management program. So then that's a good time to go, oh, I'm kind of interested in that subject. And so it's a great time to start checking off your degree plan. Project management, strategic management, and then our last one, you either take finance for operations managers, or if you're more towards the engineering type, the economic decision making might be a good choice for you. And with these 4 required, you need to get a B or better. Next slide. Did I skip some slides? Hold on just a second. Oh, we did. Okay. Current tuition. Now, this is going to make your managers very, very happy because the total for a 3-hour online class is $1,061.64. If it's coming out of your supervisor's budget, they're going to like that because for under $11,000, you're going to get yourself a really good master's degree. So something to think about there. There's no hidden fees. This does not include textbooks, but that's it. And I know some classes, that's their credit hour price, not for us. That's it. Now, we do have two graduate certificate options that you can do, project management and Homeland Security. And I'm going to talk about the graduate certificates that you can do along with or separate, like Carol had mentioned. There's only 4 classes. You only need a 2.5 undergraduate GPA. You don't need the GRE or the GMAT as long as you have that 2.5. You can do this along with your master's degree without taking any extra classes because they'll count for both programs. You can complete them alone or within, and you can also start with like the project management program and take those 4 classes and say, hey, you know, I want to go ahead and do the operations management as well. And you can do that, and those classes will count. You must apply for admissions to each certificate separately. You need to apply for graduation from both of the MSOM, the certificate separately, because once again, we do like to hold those hostage until you do so. And then I do recommend that you graduate with all of your programs at the same time. Now, to talk about specifics and a little bit more in depth about the graduate program, we have Dr. Rich Ham. He is our Associate Director of our Master Science Operations Management program, and he is going to elaborate on them. He did design them, so he knows a lot about them. Dr. Ham.
Well, thank you, Marge. So we'll talk a little bit about, I think Marge did a good job describing the certificates, but some things I'd like to point out that is not necessary, you don't necessarily find everywhere that has certificate. We started a project about 4 years ago now when we were looking at certificates, and we made the decision after benchmarking with input that came from employers, institutions, and then the employees themselves, that they found a lot of value in having the certificates actually work in conjunction with the body of knowledge. So we went to and searched, and we used the body of knowledge from the Project Management Institute to design what we have in our courses. So if you'll look at the courses, the 3 courses that are designed, those are the 3 key areas that you would see in project management. The project management, the foundations, which covers nearly all of what would be the equivalent of the body of knowledge for a green belt. That, in fact, is looked at as the place that you not only start, but you build everything from. Advanced project management focuses on using those skills to monitor projects and then to use the skills like the ones that are taught with the PMP, with the Project Management Professional Certificate from PMI, to look at, monitor, and make sure, identify early if you have something that's going off track in a project. So everything within those 3 foundations, and of course, leadership is a key skill when you're leading projects. Between those 3 and the foundation, you'll have been exposed to all of the information. It's not a boot camp. You don't get to the end of the course and we say, okay, you sit for the green belt test. But if you study those, and we have students that have validated it, looked at and gone through the materials they had in class, they felt very prepared to do a review and then to sit for the PMP. The elective courses, many find that those are useful courses to select what they have going on individually. If they have a specific situation, while it is in the body of knowledge, but say they're going through a big change, many of us are right now, in how we're organized and how you apply those principles to organize for change, or some more advanced cost estimating that would be used to identify whether or not a project is in trouble. The Homeland Security Certificate came from from benchmarking first, but then our students that had indicated that they believed that there was a skill set, an emerging skill set, and then input that we received also both from doing job analysis, and then many of our partners, as an example, Walmart has a lot of skills within the area of compliance of Homeland Security. And this is much broader than most people think. We follow the body of knowledge. It's called the Protection of Assets, but in the American Society for Industrial Security. That for the CPP certificate is weaved throughout the program. And so what you find is that many of the things, business practices, finance, the things that any operations manager does is actually part of that protection of assets. So in the Homeland Security for Operations Manager course, which lays the foundation of the kind of things you'd have to know about compliance, the different programs. There are about 40 different programs and more than that for legislation that you're required to comply with. So that's everything. If you're an HR specialist, about background checks, understanding export controls and the laws that now are part of Homeland Security. And when you produce a certain material or product, whether or not you can send it to other parts of the world. And then the supply chain management, which has 7 different programs that are used for ground, maritime, and aviation movement of goods and services. Those types of compliance and how to integrate some good, solid efficiencies as opposed to being inefficient, which many supply chain operations experienced trying to be in compliant. That, and then last but not least, the Intro to Operations Management. What we see in our intro course is a survey that gives all of those skills that feed right into the protection of assets. Then we have an elective course, and we likely will look at allowing up to 2 electives. So you've taken the intro course and the Homeland course, and then 2 electives, depending on a student that has some very specific needs that they have. As an example, we just added an 8-week 2, starting in October. We'll have a program in crisis management and resilient design for operations managers. It follows several different requirements of the National Incident Management System and what FEMA recommends, also in resilient design of supply chain. And we typically, both for the Homeland course and the crisis management course, have some very distinguished guest speakers that are recognized nationally as being experts in the field that will give a perspective of that. So you can look at the electives and see that there's a great opportunity to not just be able to look at all of the body of knowledge and understand how, if you wanted to eventually sit for that exam, but also to actually be able to choose an area where you think that you need more help or you would like to understand more. As an example about risk, operations managers, many are not cybersecurity experts, but they are asked to manage. And so our cybersecurity course, as an example, gives a pretty broad understanding of the different NIST standards and the information in current FAIR technology that you would use in order to ensure that you're compliant. And I think all those in pretty quick fire hose, but I think Jane.
Yes. Yeah, I am Jane Cromhout, and I am the Assistant Director of the Masters of Science and Engineering Management program and also the primary contact for that program. Both the program we do the U.S. News and World survey every year for online programs, and last year, actually for as long as it's been around, we've been one of the best programs, as well as in general, as well as for veterans. So the MSEM program, first of all, as Dr. Parnell indicated earlier, it prepares engineers to lead and manage a technical workforce and projects to develop and deliver new products and services that create value for their organization and customers. The big part of engineering management, it's about technology and new processes and procedures, as well as dealing with those that are in existence to try and help make them better and more efficient and effective. The admission requirements for the MSEM degree is that you absolutely have to have a Bachelor's of Science in Engineering from a program accredited by the Engineering Commission of ABET. It can't be the Engineering Technology Commission or any of the other commissions. It has to be the Engineering Commission of ABET. In addition to the degree, you have to have a GPA of 3.0 either overall or on just the last 60 hours of coursework. And what grad school does is they take every class in the semester in which the 60th hour occurred and use all those courses, so it's usually on more than 60 hours, and they do not take plus minus grades into account, but only the letter grade. So as long as one of those is above a 3.0, there's no problem. It's a standard straight admission. If somebody has a GPA between I should have flipped those 2.5 to 2.9, then it's decided on a case-by-case basis. Passing the fundamentals of engineering exam is great and helpful, or in just having some years of experience is looked at it there as well. So one thing that's a little bit unique about both of these programs is that we operate on 8-week sessions. So it's a full semester grad level class accelerated into an 8-week session. So they move pretty quickly. As you can see, there's one that started August 24th and goes through October 13th and just down the line. The 2 sessions in fall and spring semester are back to back. There's no break between them, but there's always a break between the big semesters. The advantage of it being in 8-week sessions is that if you have a big project coming up, say in April, you can easily, or May, you can easily sit out that session without giving up on the whole semester. So it works out very well for working professionals. It's easier to concentrate on one, possibly 2 classes and get that done in a short period of time, and then you can move on. But we have found, and we have been operating on this 8-week schedule for decades. So it just works really well for working professionals. The tuition and fees for the MSEM program are similar to that of the MSOM program. Tuition is $303.88 per credit hour in fees. But for any engineering class, anything that's not an operations management or an engineering management class, there's an additional $30 per credit hour fee that we have to charge for those classes. We have no control over that. But even if you have to take 4 engineering classes, so it doesn't add that much more to the program. And even if you took up to 7 engineering classes, it's only an additional $270. So it's not a huge factor. One thing to note, as Carol mentioned in the chat, we do not have any out-of-state tuition and fees. Everybody pays the same rate. So for the MSEM degree requirements, we also have 4 core classes. One of them is the Intro to Engineering Management class, and this gives you an overview of what to expect throughout the whole program and an overview in general what engineering management is all about. Decision Models is a required course. Economic Decision Making and Project Management is also a required course. Then there's an engineering sequence that currently it does not include EMGT, OMGT, or GNEG classes, so like industrial engineering or mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. Even if you say you did your undergrad degree in chemical engineering or civil engineering, which we have a lot of courses of too, you do not necessarily have to take your engineering sequence from that engineering discipline. This is your opportunity and chance to broaden your knowledge base and your horizons. A lot of people who do the MSEM program take industrial engineering courses because they are very similar and along the lines of engineering management. And then you have electives, 3 electives, which is 9 hours, and you can take absolutely any course that we offer for these electives. As Marge said, there were 27 operations management courses, but then we also have engineering management courses plus engineering courses. So we have like over 60 courses that you could choose from. So you have the opportunity to really develop a curriculum that meets your professional goals and education needs. We also have a comprehensive oral exam. As Marge said, it's not as scary as people make it out to be. We do not require a video, but you do have to create a presentation. But that also gives you the opportunity to show us what you have learned during the program and how you can apply it. It gives you some control over the comp exam, and you actually start the comp exam out. And as long as you do a great job on that presentation, it's super easy. It's really not as scary as it sounds. We want you to be successful. We're not out to get you, and it doesn't even last that long. And you should have a GPA of 3.0 or greater. Overall, we do not have the requirement right now. You have to make a B or better on the core classes. It's just a 3.0 overall. You can also do the graduate certificates with the MSEM program. You can earn 2 credentials for the same dollar, so you get more bang for your buck. As Marge mentioned, they require 4 courses, but you do have to apply for both the certificate and the degree program at the time of admission and at the time of graduation. Right now, the admission fee is $60 and the graduation fee is at $45, so you get an extra credential for only $105 extra dollars. Right now, these are the certificates that we're mentioning and talking about today, the project management and Homeland Security. And I'm going to show you how they work with the MSEM specifically. So if you do the MSEM and the graduate certificate in project management, it uses up 2 of your elective spots. OMGT 5783 project management is required for both the degree and the certificate. Advanced project management is required for the certificate, but it's an elective for the MSEM. Leadership principles and practices is required for the certificate, but an elective for the degree program. And though there are many electives that you can take for the project management certificate, OMGT 5463 economic decision making is one of those electives, but it's required for the MSEM program. So that's why you're not using up 3 of your elective spots. This is probably our most popular graduate certificate across all degree programs, that people who are doing both a degree and a certificate. The other one we are mentioning today is a Homeland Security graduate certificate. This one does use up all your elective spots. Intro to Operations Management is required for the certificate, as well as Homeland Security for Operations Managers and Supply Chain Management. As Dr. Ham mentioned, this may be changing where you might be able to do a different one, but it would still use up one of your certificate or one of your elective spots. And then an elective for the certificate is this economic decision making again, but it's required for the MSEM degree. So you can still easily do it without having to take any extra classes.
So I have a question they may be thinking of is when does the next session start?
It starts October 14th, and you can apply for any of the 8-week sessions. So that's not a problem. You can start and apply at any time.
We'll say goodbye for now. Thank you again, Stan, for allowing us to do this. We really appreciate it. And thank you all of our registrants and the caller and participants who were able to join us today.